Welcome, all press fraternity. I'll give a short introduction about Nscn, Senior Citizen Association Nagaland. We, the office bearers, are some advisors and a spokesperson. We call you here to let you know the concern which we have, because as a Senior Citizen Association, it's a non-political association. We're not biased or against any political party, but we want to ventilate the issue which are affected us and which will affect the future generation. So, in regard to Intangki National Park, we had a number of discussion, and association has filed RTI. In reply to that, the RTI Commission has given their findings. So based on that, we have called you to brief you the issues. I'll hand over time to our spokesperson to speak in detail about the issues related to that Intangki National Park. Sir.
At the outset, let me just, on behalf of the senior citizens, express our gratitude to all the media persons, print and today's information that has been collated concerns the future generations of the Nagas as a whole, and to that extent, the younger generations in the years to come. And we are rather concerned as senior citizens, and as the President has already ventilated, we are an apolitical body, only concerned to ensure that during our watch as senior citizens, we should have a community or a society that is properly governed, and that we would want to ensure that the younger generation are not put into any kind of harm's way by the faulty decisions that the community or the senior members of the societies that is handling the government take, to the extent of complete damnation of whatever concerns everybody else, and make their present political responsibilities or government responsibilities as if they have nothing to respond or nothing to answer to the common man. And it is based on this situation that we as senior citizens have taken a course of action way back in 2019. We had been hearing rather serious rumors that the Intanki Reserve Forest was being overrun by the Nscn, and the Forest Department was not being able to really manage the supervisory work over the Intangki Reserve Forest. We didn't know whether these rumors were factual or not. But then the information that was circulating at that time became more and more serious, and therefore the senior citizens, based on our concern for our people, filed an RTI. Now, we did not file an RTI to the Forest Department directly, basically because we were rather skeptic that the state government or the government department may not give us a truthful, honest answers. And therefore, we wanted to induce a little bit of say, a kind of pressure point. And therefore, the RTI was filed with the governor's office, and from where the chain of event had been taken for the governor's office to forward the RTI to the concerned department through the chief secretary and so on. So it took some time. Now, the senior citizens have raised basically around 9-10 questions concerning the Intangki Reserve Forest. Things like who were the landowners, when was it taken over, what are the basic things that are required to manage a reserve forest and things like that. But the more pointed issues that we were interested in were just about 4 points that were more pointed that we had asked. And that was to do with whether the Forest Department posted at Intanki as managers, supervisors, the people who are in charge to upkeep the Intanki Reserve Forest from the Forest Department, have been asked to vacate their official quarters, and that the vacated quarters have been occupied by the Nscn and cadre. And then, so when we received the information ultimately by the Forest Department, their response was absolutely indifferent and uncommitted, and without any definitive confirmation as to the questions that we raised. Now, unfortunately, it was during a period in which COVID had come in, and so even the pursuing of the issues after we received the response from the Forest Department couldn't be taken up promptly enough, as a result of which there was a serious amount of delay, almost 2 years. And we also had a change of guard. The the previous president had given up office, and then the present office bearers had come in. So there was also a dislocation in the continuity. And so this RTI that we had filed on the issue of Intanki could not be pushed to the end limits of finding a concrete and total answers from them. But in the meantime, the Chief Information Officer, to whom we had also kept informed, felt it was an issue of importance for the Nagas as a whole, and therefore he initiated the process of calling both the Forest Department and the senior citizens to sit together in his court and have a one-to-one interaction as to the issues that were raised by the senior citizens. Now, we have more or less printed out the sequence of events, prepared papers for you as to the proceedings of the court of the Chief Information Officer, and then even the press release that we are just handing out for your references, because there are very many issues that in the course of discussion we may leave out or undermine or even not be able to pointedly refer to, and therefore all the documents required, we have already prepared the text as a press release, as a handout for the media as well, okay? So here, we'd like to not waste too much of time and come down to the basics of whatever the issue is all about. You see, when we sat with the Chief Information Commissioner face to face, there were very many answers that indifferently that had been given to us by the Forest Department totally went into a changed kind of a gear when we started asking pointed questions about the real status of what the Forest Department is doing in Intanki. And it came out with absolute clarity, with no doubts, apart from their official answer, which was indifferent. In the interactive session, the Forest Department had made a very, very clear, unambiguous statement that by the early 1993-94 onwards, in fact, the Forest Department personnel posted at Intanki families, they were all being harassed by the Nscn cadre. It was a consistent thing, and things started getting more and more perpetuated after the ceasefire. But the government servants of the Forest Department that were posted in Intangki, they were unable to bear the pressure of the kind of threat that were being personally given to the individuals and their family. And so one by one, the forest staff, officers and rangers and the rest of the infrastructural ministerial staff, they all left their place of posting out of fear. Now, when we had asked questions as to how come that the state government had not taken any action, and whether the Forest Department made it a point to inform the state government or their immediate superiors, they were very, very definitely in their answer to say that, well, from the very start, all these harassments and various other activities of aggressive threats have been reported to the higher-ups, but there have been no direct instruction from the state government, neither has the state government taken any kind of an action to make the NSIM stop this threat exercises. But it is more than clear that the Forest Department, when exposed to the threat of whatever kind, with families and children, they were feeling unsafe to be continuing there, and so they left one after another. They did not leave at the time. And the question we had asked also was, did the state government give direct orders to the Forest Department and the Intangki staff to vacate the quarters so that the NSAN-IM can take over? They said there was no such directive from the state government or the department, but the fact is that the matter had been reported to the higher-ups. That is what the director of the Intangki Reserve Forest in charge made as a statement. Now, it is absolutely apparent that despite the fact that this kind of harassment was being committed by the NSAN-IM, the state government has kept completely silent, had given no directives, and have complicitly made the whole situation continue as it is. And as of today, it has been confirmed by the Forest Department that as of today, all the government buildings that are in Intangki, meant for the Forest Departmental officials and staff that are made responsible for the management of the Intangki Reserve Forest, are all being occupied by the NSAN-IM cadre. Now, as senior citizens, we were shocked to hear this particular aspect of the ground reality, where the government department has actually vacated their premises to allow the NSAN-IM to take over, and that knowingly the state government has taken no action at all. We find this as a government that has got absolutely no particular interest in protecting the interests of the public, protecting the interests of ecosystem or environment, and they are allowing the whole situation as probably as a matter of a compromise for a political solution. Because we are aware of the fact that NSAN-IM in their competency clauses may not have sought for occupation of the Intangki Reserve Forest per se in their competency clauses, but it has been made more than clearly sufficient that their intention is to take over Intangki so that the Pan-Naga Hoho or whatever rehabilitation that comes after the solution will all be carried out through the establishment of Intangki Reserve Forest area. Now, though initially we had heard about this as an intention of the NSCN-IM, today we are more than clear that their intention is in fact actually put in practice where they are actually in physical occupation of the Intangki Reserve Forest. And we have been told by the Forest Department official that had come for this particular press conference to say that as of today, even the officials that are posted to Intangki Reserve Forest as officers of the department have to take permission from the NSCN-IM to carry out their duties in Intangki. Now, where is the state government gone? And we have been, overall, there has been various comments being carried out and said that the state government has been functioning more like a shadow government, whereas the NSCN government, which is supposed to be the shadow government, is a more powerful government, more powerful than the state government. And by virtue of that action of taking over a government establishment, it proves the fact that the NSCN is commanding the totality of governance in the state of Nagaland, and that the chief ministers, be it Mr. Neiphiu or be it Mr. T.R. Zeleng or Mr. Sirozile, in their own term, in their own time, they have allowed such a development to take place. And we have had even people like Chief Minister, people like Mr. T.R. Zeleng, openly saying that he is willing to allow 100 acres of land to be given to the NSCN for rehabilitation. So when the total purpose of the state government is placed as a policy to appease the NSCN with everything but anything that they can, they have had special development zone for foothill areas where the inner line pass will not be applicable. All of these little schemes that have been coming up over the years all appear to be a scheme in which to settle our Naga brothers from elsewhere beyond our state boundary as a convenient haven for their rehabilitation. It appears to be so. And we are beginning to feel very uncomfortable for this little fact that when there is a state government that has been totally ignored by the NSCN and carrying out brass and aggressive action such as occupying even a state government establishment, I think things have gone much too far. And so here the senior citizens have been pretty upset to learn whatever has been said. And so we decided that it is a matter of serious concern and that it must be made known to the common Naga people for them to make decisions for themselves as to whether we are prepared to allow Intangki to be taken over by the NSCN so that their cadre rehabilitation can be considered within the Intangki Reserve. The Pan-Naga Hoho that I have been talking about over and over again is such an establishment that is being planned to be set up in Intangki. And this is an establishment or a forum which is being designed by NSCN to continue their control over the state of Nagaland even after the post solution is arrived at. And I have spoken a lot over the years in writing concerning the matter of the state of Nagaland becoming a Naga nation, even though there is no integration. I have spoken about the Pan-Naga Hoho becoming a supra-statutory authority where they will appoint even members into the upper house, and the upper house will control the total activity of the state government nominated by the Pan-Naga Hoho. All of these issues I have ventilated over the years. Now the Intangki issue has become a rather clear reality that NSCN intends to implement everything that they have got in their book, in their competency clauses that they want to implement, and implement it from Intangki base. Now, we have to understand this. Now, Nagas have struggled for self-determination for the last 76 years, and when we got the statehood, the state area is only 16,579 square kilometers. Intanki area comprises of 202.2 square kilometers. Now, consider this. If 202 square kilometers is taken out from a small state called the state of Nagaland, which is only 16,579 square kilometers, what will be the balance area of the state of Nagaland? Just consider that. Will be reduced from what we are to 16,377 square kilometers. And the Nagas have been fighting all this while, thinking that we can generate an integration of all the Nagas from everywhere else and increase our boundary. Instead, today the state government is sitting complacently with all the struggle for our own identity, our own establishment, and everything said and done. Today the state government is prepared to forego 202 square kilometers of land from Nagaland rather than gain something out of this self-determination issues with the government of India. So did the Nagas fight all these years, lost so many lives, gone through such severe, excruciating troubles over these many years, just so as to lose whatever little we have got in our hands? You see, is the state government so totally unconcerned about the people that they are governing? They are not chief ministers for their own benefits. They are responsible to the people. And if they are going to give away this kind of control of the state government to a faction, I think the people of Nagaland have a lot to explain their emotion to the state government that is totally prepared to sell them out with such a lot of indifference and scheming all the time to ensure that one faction gets a privilege beyond their own requirements. And so I think it is for the people to react to whether they agree to the state government behaving in this way. But mind you, here again, the problem here again is that the Forest Department has lost complete control over what is happening in Intangki Reserve Forest. And to the extent that when the Nscn cadre have been doing serious deforestation, logging and so on, we do not know how much of forest they have already destroyed, because the Forest Department officials who are there to look at and protect the reserve forests are nowhere available inside because they are not there. And as I had earlier mentioned, even the Forest Department have to take the permission from the Nscn to go into the thing. Where is the control? And they are deforestating as many, whatever they are excavating from there. But we have heard that there has been rather serious logging in the Intangki forest. There have been no environmental clearances from anywhere. It is something that they are doing with complete contempt that there is even a state government, the Nscn. And therefore, we as a senior citizen wanted to present the bare facts of whatever has been found in course of our interaction and to pointedly let the government of Nagaland know and let them also be responsible to answer to the people of Nagaland. What has the chief ministers within the period from 93, 94 onwards have they been doing when all of this takeover of government establishment has been consistently and aggressively been conducted by the Nscn? What was the reason for their indifference? Because we are clearly aware, without any doubt, that the information of Nscn takeover of Intanki is more than sufficiently officially known to the state government, from the State Department to the state government and the Chief Minister, definitely, whichever Chief Minister it might have been, either is it Mr. Rio, Mr. TR or Mr. Cyril, they know for a fact that Nscn has taken over the complete control of the Intangki forest, and that they still have not taken any initiative to date. There is no instruction, there is no directives as to what the Forest Department should do. What kind of a state government is this? And therefore, today we are asking the state government pointed question. What are they doing? What is their intention? And what do they intend to do? After having found that the Nscn is occupying the establishment, government establishment at Intangki, what does the state government intend to do, having been put into public domain the facts of the reality that has been otherwise discovered? These are the issues that has been raised, and we wanted that not only the state government and the chief minister, but for the government, for the total population, Naga population, to take a look at this reality and ask the same question. Did the Nagas fight all these years for self-determination just so as to lose even the little that we have? This is a question that even the various NGOs and various organizations that prevail in the state of Nagaland, they must also now stand up and question. But this is an issue that is something that cannot be loosely or indifferently handled and allow such a aggressive, insulting action of Nscn against the existing government of Nagaland as if there is no government at all. So, as far as I'm concerned, the basic little details have been covered in the press note. Whichever I may not have covered are still covered in here. We will be giving you out the handouts, but this is more or less the concise picture of the reality of what is happening at Intangki, and that we wanted the whole population in Nagaland know, and also ask the state government to give their reason as to why they are allowing such a thing to happen in the state of Nagaland. Mind you, as I said, too many things are happening. Too many things are happening. Unfortunately, the subject matters are a little deviated as it may, but we have, at least to the extent possible, the issues have been ventilated on other various issues, but the Nscn has not allowed their competency clauses to be made known to the public in Nagaland, or the state of Nagaland, and therefore we have finally come down to the conclusion to say, we are the stakeholders. If you want to decide our future, you must let us know, because as stakeholders we need to know. But they have refused to show us, so at the end of the day, we have come down to a stage where we have said, well, if the competency clauses that includes things like this, Intangki, things like the Pan Naga Ho, things like Naga state of Nagaland becoming a Naga nation for all Nagas from everywhere else, despite the fact that there is no integration. Now, if Nscn is designing all this through their competency clauses, and we, the Nagas of Nagaland, don't know a thing about what is there in the competency clauses that they are using to negotiate with the government of India to settle the Naga issue. Our future is being totally handed over to the Nscn, and they expect us to have faith in them that they will deal with all of us fairly. Is this fair? Is this fair? Is it fair that the Pan Naga will control the future of the Nagas of Nagaland through the claim that Naga state of Nagaland will become a Naga nation for everybody? And whereas our southern brothers have their own regional territorial councils being provided to them for development, for their self-determination in Manipur, in Arunachal, they have not objected to that. They allow that territorial establishment independently to enjoy their benefits, and by virtue of being called the Naga nation, where the state of Nagaland remains the same without integration, but it's still going to be called the Naga nation for Nagas from everywhere, where your rights as the Nagas of Nagaland, your rights have to be shared with them. They have their own rights exclusively in their own area, but as a Naga nation, they will also be equally having the right to share all the privileges as a Naga nation citizen. I hope this message is very clear. Now, if Nscn is going to continue with this trend of asking for various things that we Nagas have been kept out of the loop, we say, please do whatever you want, definitely. If you do not want to show us, fair enough. Don't show it to us. But Nscn should take their competency clauses and implement it in their own territory of Manipur or Arunachal as they want, but they cannot implement their competency clauses within the state of Nagaland. And Pan-Naga Ho being established in Intangki, the Nagas of Nagaland will have to take a very serious view as to whether they allow it, will agree to it or not. See, I'm sorry that this has gone a little beyond, a little boundary of whatever we had as a matter of a statement made for the Intanki issue, but we have too many political linkages through that Intanki as a basis within which too many questionable schemes are being proffered by the Nscn, and therefore we are pointedly making these issues clearly so that the people of Nagaland will keep their minds open and find out exactly what we want. We cannot be just useless non-entities. Our future is being decided, and therefore we have to know exactly what our future is going to be. Are the Nagas blind to that simple little logic and common sense? That's for the Naga people to answer for themselves. But as things stand, I think we are the Nagas of Nagaland is being taken for a ride, both by the Nscn and also by the state government. That's all I would like to say as a matter of conclusion. Thank you.
Nagaland TV, Sob Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.